Flashes to flashes, bust to bust, Taiwanese wife hires strippers to perform at husband's funeral as final gift to him. The scantily clad strippers danced around the casket at Mr. Jian's funeral. Dancers were booked by deceased's wife as a final gift to her husband. Tradition for exotic dancers at funerals began is linked to Taiwanese mafia. Between the tears, eulogies and final farewells, funerals are typically a sombre affair. So mourners at a Taiwanese man's memorial were shocked after they were treated to a sexy performance by two scantily clad strippers, hired by the deceased's own wife, the People's Daily Online reported. Dressed in little more than underwear and thigh-high boots, the exotic dancers showed off their moves in a scene more fitting to a strip club than a funeral home. Bringing a whole new meaning to the phrase "drop-dead gorgeous," the women gyrated around the coffin to Maroon 5's moves like Jagger in front of the open-mouthed mourners. At one stage they even draped themselves over the casket as part of their routine. Incredibly, it was the deceased's wife who booked the dancers as a final gift to her husband. Mrs. Jian said she knew her spouse always had an eye for the ladies and wanted to ensure that his final journey was one that he would appreciate. Taichung Funeral Home in Taipei, Taiwan was turned into a makeshift gentlemen's club when the dance music began pumping and neon lights started flashing as the girls went through their moves on the morning of April 12. Some mourners appeared to be more interested in filming the sexy dancers rather than remembering their departed friend as they vied for the best position to take photos and videos on their smartphones. Family and friends of the deceased expressed their shock during the performance, but it didn't stop the dancers, who went through 3 different fast-paced songs. They then disappeared before the drums played and the coffin was taken to the awaiting car and the start of the solemn funeral ceremony. Friends said the extremely understanding Mrs. Jian was a devoted wife, and after Mr. Jian had suffered a stroke before his death, she would spend every minute at his bedside, attending to his every need. The Taiwanese phenomenon of having exotic dancers or strippers perform at funerals began in the 1980s and is thought to be connected to the local mafia, who were said to have seized control of the mortuary industry and offered strippers from their clubs at a cut price. For a modest fee, the scantily clad women arrive on the neon-lit back of a diesel truck dubbed an electric flower car, to gyrate erotically in front of the departed and his mourners. The cars also offer an easy getaway if police arrive to the scene. Some have labeled the practice as scandalous, but others claim it is an important part of the grieving process, and the perfect way of sending off their loved ones with a smile. In Taiwanese culture, the more people who attend the funeral, then the more honor was given to the deceased. So the strippers were used to bribe more mourners into turning up.